Allow. Come on. Okay. Sorry about that. Okay, so we are in Deuteronomy 1, verse 34. Now, just as a quick reminder, basically we're just doing a recap of everything. I mean, we're going to spend a few chapters just recapping 40 years, really, just giving the highlights. So, if it sounds familiar, good. You were listening the first time around, so hopefully this will put it in a little bit further. So here we go. Then the Lord heard the sound of your words. He was angry and took an oath, saying, none of these men, this evil generation, shall see the good land which I swore to give your fathers, except Caleb, the son of Jephunneh, and he shall see it, and to him and to his sons I will give the land on which he has set foot, because he has followed the Lord fully. The Lord was angry with me also on your account, saying, not even you shall enter there. Joshua, the son of Nun, who stands before you, he shall enter there. Encourage him, for he will cause Israel to inherit it. Moreover, your little ones, who you said would become prey, and your sons, who this day have no knowledge of good or evil, shall enter there. And I will give it to them, and they shall possess it. So just quick recap on that. So basically, if you don't remember, as they sent spies in to the promised land, the spies all came back and said, you don't understand, man, there are giants in there. I mean, yeah, sure, there's some good food, but we can't beat these people. What? Yahweh can provide food for you in the wilderness and water in the wilderness and the desert, but he can't defeat some giants? I mean, a lack of faith, which seems to be a common thing for them. But anyway, one of the things that they had said was, oh, you know, this is going to, our little ones are just going to, our kids are just going to be prey. They're just going to take them. Well, obviously, God wasn't going to allow that to happen. But continuing in 40 here. But as for you, turn around and set out for the wilderness by the way of the Red Sea. Then you said to me, we have sinned against the Lord. We will indeed go up and fight, just as the Lord our God has commanded us. And every man of you girded on his weapons of war and regarded it as easy to go up into the hill country. And the Lord said to me, say to them, do not go up nor fight, for I am not among you. Otherwise you will be declared or defeated by your enemies. So I spoke to you, but you would not listen. Instead, you rebelled against the command of the Lord and acted presumptuously and went into the hill country. The Amorites who lived in that hill country came out against you and chased you as bees do and crushed you from Seir to Hamah. Then the Lord returned and wept. Then you returned and wept before the Lord, but the Lord did not listen to your voice nor give ear to you. So you remained in Kadesh many days, and days that you spent there. So basically, just a reminder that, yeah, as soon as I told you, okay, you don't want to go in the promised land, out in the wilderness. Oh, wait, promised land sounds good now. All of a sudden, I'm ready to go to the promised land. I'm ready to fight them. Day late, dollar short. You got to keep in mind, God gives us opportunities, but we're responsible for following through with them. God does all kinds of things for us. Some things we see, some things we don't. But when he gives us an opportunity, you got a choice. Because we still have free will. You can take it or you can not. That's your call. But don't go complain. Oh, Yahweh, I want that back. Never mind. Sometimes God will relent and give it to you. Other times it's like this. Old Testament, no, we're done here. So all the people that had the chance to go in the promised land, he waited for all of them to die off before they could go in. Okay, continuing in chapter 2 here. Then we turned and set out for the wilderness by the way to the Red Sea. And the Lord spoke to me and circled Mount Seir for many days. And then the Lord spoke to me, saying, you have circled this mountain long enough. Now turn north and command the people, saying, you will pass through the territory of your brothers, the sons of Esau, who live in Seir, and they will be afraid of you. So be very careful. Do not provoke them, for I will not give you any of their land, even as little as a footstep, because I have given Mount Seir to Esau as a possession. Now, Y'all know me. I got to start thinking about the weird things sometimes. So how long does he give it to them as a possession? What's the time period? Because at this point, he's giving it to them, sure. But for how long? Because they don't have it today. So at what point was this is as much as you get? I don't know. It's the way I think. I look at things a little differently. I'm trying to figure out, because he's not going to give that out. He's not going to give them an opportunity to take any of the land from relatives. But come on, we're all relatives, aren't we? It's a matter of how far do you want to go back. I mean, that's the only question.
Maybe it's until they sin so much that he gets mad at them, because he does that a lot.
Oh, yeah. Well, they tend to sin a lot, so yeah. Well, and the other thing, they're going to get a little bit more of a pass, I think, than the Israelites, because the Israelites have been giving all these rules. To our knowledge, Esau's descendants weren't given any rules. So they've got some basics, but they've got a lot less to follow. By comparison today, how many rules do we have? Depends on your perspective. You're talking about man's law, or you're talking about God's law. God's law is right here. One book. Everything you need, everything you've got to worry about, know, it's right here. That's all. That's all you have to do. Now, you put man's law, you couldn't fit all the books in this room. You'd need terabytes of data, probably petabytes of data. Sorry, I'm going into geek mode here. Just to store all the rules that you have to know to live in this country and not do something illegal and go to jail. Which is why people will do something illegal and go to jail about every day. And why cops will tell you, all I have to do is follow you long enough and you'll do something illegal. Why? Because you probably don't know half the things you're doing that are wrong.
Human nature.
Yeah, it is. But part of it's human nature, but part of it is just, can you know everything? I can't. I found that out. It just doesn't, you don't get to know everything. You don't know all the rules. So again, just trying to put some perspective on it. Okay. You shall buy food from them with money so that you may eat. And you shall also purchase water from them with money so that you can drink. For the Lord your God has blessed you in all that you have done. He has known your wanderings through the great wilderness these 40 years. The Lord your God has been with you. You have not lacked a thing. So we passed beyond your brothers, the sons of Esau, who live in Seir, away from the Arabah road, away from Elath and from Ezion Geber, and we turned and passed through by the way of the wilderness of Moab. Then the Lord said to me, do not harass Moab, nor provoke them to war, for I will not give you any of their land as a possession, because I have given Ar to the sons of Lot as a possession. The Emim lived there formerly, a people as great, numerous, and tall as Anakim. Okay, who's the Anakim?
The big ones.
Yes, but there's more to it than that. Anakim are giants, but they are the sons of angels and women of men. So fallen angels mated with women, and you have the Anakim. So that's the Anakim. Now, notice the next line. Like the Anakim, they are also regarded as Rephaim, but the Moabites call them Emim. Rephaim is giants. So that's where you're correct, is giants, because they were really tall. And we'll get into an example today or next Sunday about the size, but one as a quick preview here, we'll get to it later. But as one example, one of the giants, his iron bed was 13 and a half feet by 6 feet. That was just for him to fit in the bed. You do the math. Big dude. So you had a race of giants living there, but not now. Now, point of interest on this, because one of the other things she thinks, we do all these archaeological digs. Happens all the time, right? Where are the giants? Where are the remains of the giants? Well, if you actually do a little research, Kentucky, good spot for giants apparently. What they call the mound builders. So they had big mounds they buried their dead in. They excavated some of those back, at this point 100 years ago, and 80 to 100 years ago. Found huge giant bodies. What happened to them? They sent them to the Smithsonian. What did the Smithsonian say? No habla. I don't know what you're talking about. I didn't ever get any of these. Well, we sent them. Here are the pictures. Yeah, I don't know what you mean. Have they been found in other places? Yes. They've been found throughout the world. But they always seem to disappear. Now, is that just old wives' tale? The Bible says they existed, so I'd say no. I'm going with the Bible here. They existed. I think they've been found. I think they just don't fit into the narrative, so they tend to disappear. That's my 2 cents worth. That's not fact. That's just what I think probably happened, because I believe the Bible says they exist. They're talking about 2 different races right here, right? They've got a whole different name for, Anakim, and a whole different name, Rephaim. So there are obviously at least 2 races out there of giants. You got to be remains somewhere.
The tallest people I've ever seen are some of the NBA players.
Well,
There's a few of them 7 feet tall, but these are twice tall.
oh, you've got some that are 8 feet tall. I don't know. Okay, as an example here, I don't know if you're interested, look this up and it'll give you some perspective. Now, everybody in here, I'm sure, knows who Arnold Schwarzenegger is, right? Big dude, filled the role of the Terminator, so you can think of that. There's a picture of him when he was doing, I think, Conan the Barbarian or Conan the Destroyer, and he was standing next to Andre the Giant. If any of you all know who that was, he was a famous wrestler for a while. And he's standing next to, because they were all around the same film set, he's standing next to Wilt Chamberlain. Schwarzenegger looks shorter than me in the picture. Wilt Chamberlain, I don't think Schwarzenegger can put his hand up high enough to touch his head. So when you put things into perspective, they're still out there? Like the lady said, look at the NBA. We think of Chinese being pretty short, typically, right? Who is the one Chinese person in the NBA? Dude's like 8 feet tall. He just lifts his hand, drops the ball in. That's it. End of story. It's over with. So, do they exist? Is it still in our DNA? Well, apparently it is, because it's still out there. They still exist.
It's not fair for the rest of them to have to play it.
Well, you look at Charles Barkley. You think he's not that big until you see him next to a 6-foot person and go, darn, that's impressive. Shaquille O'Neal, another popular one. And he's not just tall, he's big. I mean, that man he's huge. I'm not talking fat, he's just a big man.
He wears a 23 shoe, I think.
Probably. But you get the point. You have big people out there. Andre the Giant was known to have gigantorism or something like that is what it's called. So yeah, he actually just had problems with that. He went to Japan one time. It was so bad for him, he couldn't use the bathroom. He had to put newspapers on the floor and go because he couldn't fit in the bathroom to go on the toilet. He was well known for the fact that he had severe pain. So he actually drank a lot. He passed out in the lobby of a Japanese hotel. What did they do? The orange cones you see on the roadway? They put orange cones around him in the lobby and left him. They couldn't pick him up. He weighed too much. I'm trying to get to the point of there are giant people out there. It's not a joke. They exist. And I just want to make it the perspective that the things we read about in the Bible, you may not see the results everywhere, but the Bible is fact. It's If it says it, it happened. So I'm just trying to make you see that it still exists. It's just not the norm, but it's still there. Okay. The Horites formerly lived in Seir, but the sons of Esau dispossessed them and destroyed them from before them and settled in their place, just as Israel did to the land of their possession, which the Lord gave to them. Now arise and cross over the brook Zered yourselves. So we crossed over the brook Zered. Now, the time that it took for us to come from Kadesh Barnea until we crossed over the brook Zered was 38 years, until all the generations of the men of war perished from within the camp, and the Lord had as the Lord had sworn to them. Moreover, the hand of the Lord was against them, to destroy them from within the camp until they all perished. So it came about, when all the men of war had finally perished from among the people, that the Lord spoke to me, saying, Today you shall cross over at the border of Moab. Cross over R. Joyce and I have my glasses on, sorry. When you come opposite the sons of Ammon, do not harass them, nor provoke them, for I will not give you any of their land as the sons of Ammon as a possession, because I have given it to the sons of Lot as a possession. It is also regarded as the land of the Rephaim. The Rephaim formerly lived in it, but the Ammonites called them Zemzuman. Interesting name. A people as great, numerous, and tall as the Anakim, but the Lord destroyed them before them, and they dispossessed them and settled in their place, just as he did for the sons of Esau who lived in Seir. When he destroyed the Horites from before them, they dispossessed them and settled in their place, even to this day. So what? Is that 3 now? So you've got 3 different giant tribes, races, however you want to look at it. So 3 in one small area. Can't tell me they didn't exist. There are 3 references already. Different groups. Okay. And the Avim, who lived in villages as far as Gaza, the Kepharim, who came from Kephtor, destroyed them and lived in their place. Arise, set out, and pass through the valley of Arnon. Look, I have given Sihon the Amorite, king of Heshbon, and his land into your hand. Begin to take possession and contend with him in battle. This day I will begin to put the dread and fear of you upon the people everywhere under the heavens, who, when they hear the report of you, will tremble and be in anguish because of you. Now, think about it. Yahweh even told them, when you start going through this land, I've given to your other relatives, they're going to be afraid of you, so don't start anything. Now, why were they afraid of them? Think about the sheer number. If you've got millions of people marching towards you, I don't know about you all, but I'm going to be a little bit concerned. I don't like crowds. I really don't. I don't like to be around a whole bunch of people. I tend to stay away. If I see 1 million people, 2 million, 3 million, because we don't know exactly how many they were. We've done some estimates in here. But nonetheless, it's a lot of people. I see that many people coming, I'm probably going the other way. At least I'm going to stay out of the way.
Especially if they're that big.
Yeah. But this is talking about just Israel coming. And the Israelites weren't anything other than average height, as best as we know. But still, I'm just looking at it thinking, people were afraid. They said that many people coming, because most cities or most kingdoms weren't that big. So you see that many coming, you're going to be concerned. So what God's telling them here, that was your relatives were fearful of you. These people, they're all going to remember you. I mean, keep in mind, the others, before they crossed over the Jordan, they destroyed everybody, except the virgins. They destroyed everybody else, killed them all, leave none behind. So if you do that a few times, you're going to earn a really quick reputation. I mean, today we have all these rules in war. It kind of makes me think back to, watching, first time watching Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid. Okay, now let's talk about the rules for this knife fight. Rules in a knife fight, kicks him and he goes down. And that was the guy that played Lurch. So, nice tall dude. So, makes the point of rules in war. And we have rules in war today about what weapons you can use, what you can't use. But it's war. People typically don't follow that. And I'm trying to get this is that's how we are today, because I like to compare the two, how things were. But you didn't have those kind of weapons back then. Back then, you're just happy if everybody had a sword. I mean, it was a big deal. It's not like, metal was easy to come by. So just be aware this is kind of what's going on. Yahweh is setting it up so that all nations are pretty much just going to go, you know what? I'm just going to walk away. You want my land? Here it is. I want my life. And that's what's being done here. Just as the sons of Esau who live in Seir, and the Moabites who live in Ar did for me until I crossed over the Jordan into the land which the Lord God is giving to us. But Sihon, king of Heshbon, was not willing for us to pass through his land. For the Lord your God hardened his spirit and made his heart obstinate in order to deliver him into your hand as he is today. The Lord said to me, see, I have begun to deliver Sihon and his land over to you. Begin to occupy that you may possess his land. Then Sihon with all of his people came out to meet us in battle at Jahaz. The Lord our God delivered him over to us, and we defeated him with his sons and all his people. So we captured all his cities at that time and utterly destroyed the men, women, and children in every city. We left no survivor. They just killed everybody. Now, why do they do that? I'm going to go over this again. I know I've gone over it before, but I kind of want to make a point here.
So they would bring their heathen lifestyles to the Jews.
That's definitely part of it. What happens, though? We see this today mainly in the Middle East. What happens? Look at Israel and Palestine. That doesn't really exist. It's really Hamas, but whatever. They didn't, when Israel came in and took over and created Israel, if you will, they didn't kill everybody in the area. They drove some of them out, but they didn't kill everybody. You'd think they'd learn from their past history. What happens to those kids that are displaced? They grow up and they find out, Israel killed my family. I'm going to go kill Israel. I'm going to kill Israelites. That's what I'm going to do. Still happening today, isn't it? I mean, they're still fighting over there. Everybody's fighting Israel. Israel fighting everybody around them, basically. This avoided that. Either you had a choice of get out of Israel's way or die. Those are your two choices. There was nothing else. So they went in, they killed everybody, took all their possessions. This is basically the wrath of God in the Old Testament. Why? Because he was trying to prepare so that Israel didn't have to fight all these people and have constant battles for, the next century or so. Still did, but that's because Israel didn't always listen. But you get the point.
I always wondered why they went in and killed everybody, the babies and everything.
Mm-hmm.
But I see what you're saying. When they grew up and found out what happened, and they'd retaliate.
Yeah. And it never ends because there's always, Hatfields and McCoys, right? That's what works in this country, right? We get the Southern thing. Oh, it was the Hatfields against the McCoys. Who started it? They did, That's what happens. What happens? Nobody knows, but they still hate each other and fight. Why? I don't know. They probably don't know. But that's the whole problem. At some point, you got to do something that Christ taught us, which is to forgive and move on. Get a life, as you like to say in the 80s. Get over it. Just let it go. Forgive people. People make mistakes. You're going to tell me none of you've ever made a mistake? Tick somebody off? I know I have. I'm good at that, unfortunately. It's just part of my persona. Sorry. I try not to, but get into politics, I do it even more now. You know? Yeah, pretty much. Hey, I'm good at it. But, you know, that's when you're strongly opinionated, you tend to offend somebody all the time. I'm a Christian. I also tend to offend people all the time because of that. So, you know what? I have my reasons for the things I do. I had a big argument this week about it because people want to drop in Giles County, some people wanted to drop the distance for beer from a school or church to 200 feet. Why? Well, there was a place that wanted to sell beer and they were 250 feet. So they want to drop it to 200. What's the point of having a distance if you keep changing it every time because this is the second time it's happened since I've been there. Because another one was dropping it from 600 feet to, they wanted to go 550 because this one was like 495. So you couldn't get a beer permit. What? You knew it when you bought the place. There are rules for a reason. So I go in, Christian, go, yeah. Well, that's one of the people just said, well, if we're going to do this, let's just abolish it. Okay. My point is, we all upset people. Learn to forgive and forget. I have to deal with other commissioners that we are never going to be on the same page on anything. But that doesn't mean I can't be nice and polite to them. I don't like some of them. I don't have to. They don't like me. They don't have to. But I can learn to live with them and be polite and forgive them for the things that they do that really ticks me off. Especially when they say they're conservative and they're not. But hey, my point is, we have to learn to forgive people. That's what Christ taught us. So this is the difference of Old Testament and New Testament. Here, they're just going in. We're not going to make peace. We're not going to make friends. We're killing everybody so that you'll leave us alone. You're gone. That's not the way it works in the New Testament. Christ has a different story for us. But I'm just a different message. But I'm just trying to show you the two paths here and why some people see in their it's accurate statements that the God of the Old Testament seems very different from the God in the New Testament. But in a sense it is. It's still Yahweh, but when you've got Christ here is holy man and holy God, which no, I can't figure out how 100 plus 100 equals 100, but apparently it does, because God knows more than me. So that's fine, but we get different impressions when he's here, and changes some of the rules. At this point, it was much, much harsher in the Old Testament. But it was also to create his people and build them up until the point where they just wouldn't listen anymore. I mean, that's what the Old Testament's filled with. Building them up, trying to help them. They sin. They repent. God takes care of them again. Finally, I think that's when it got to enough is enough. And it got open to people that wanted to follow Christ, which I believe as Christians, that's what we are. We're people that want to follow him, not people that, well, you're his people, you should be No. I was born a Jew, I must follow. No. It's a choice. We can choose to follow God. And that's what the big difference is there. But I got to get that across in here somehow. So.
You've heard me say of the prayer I used in the glory. I call it David's prayer. You know it. We taught it in Bible school. But I said most of David's prayers you can't pray.
Mm-hmm.
Smite my enemies.
Yeah.
No, Jesus did that.
Yeah. But things changed. There's a difference. And it's not that God changed. It's that the people changed, and God knew what was coming. God knows everything that's going to happen, can happen, has happened. We have free will, but that doesn't mean he doesn't already know what we're going to choose. So, again, it's just evolution. Okay. Hang on here. Where did I end up? Did I make it to chapter 3? Sorry. Or was I still down there? Huh? What? 36. Thank you. Sorry. Sometimes when I've got a thought, I've got to go with it. And every now and then I'll lose my place. So I apologize. Okay. From Eror, which is on the edge of the valley of Arnon, and from the city which is in the valley, even to Gilead, there was no city, it was too high for us. The Lord our God delivered all over to us. Only you did not go near to the land of the sons of Ammon, all along the river Jabbok, and the cities of the hill country, and wherever the Lord our God has commanded us. Then we turned and went up the road to Bashan, and Og, king of Bashan, with all of his people, came out to meet us in battle at Edrei. But the Lord said to me, do not fear him, for I have delivered him and all his people and his land into your hand. And you shall do to him just as you did to Sihon, the king of the Amorites, who lived at Heshbon. And so the Lord our God delivered Og, also king of Bashan, with all his people into our land. And we smote them until no survivor was left. See, once again, that same concept of, no, kill them all, let God sort them out. And that's really what happened. We captured all of his cities at that time. There was not a city which we did not take for them. 60 cities, all the region of Argob, the kingdom of Og in Bashan. All these were cities fortified with high walls, gates, and bars, besides a great many unwalled towns. We utterly destroyed them, as we did to Sihon, king of Heshbon, utterly destroying the men, women, and children of every city. But all the animals and the spoil of the cities we took as our booty. Thus we took the land at that time from the land of the two kings of the Amorites, who were beyond the Jordan, from the valley of Arnon to Mount Hermon. Sorry. Yeah, I think that's right. Sidonians call Hermon Sirlon. The Amorites call it Sinir. All the cities of the plateau and all Gilead had all Bashan, as far as Selekah and Edrei, cities of the kingdom of Og and Bashan. For only Og, king of Bashan, was left of the remnants of the Rephaim. Behold, that his bedstead was an iron bedstead. It is in Rabath, the sons of Ammon. Its length was 9 cubits, and its width 4 cubits by ordinary cubit. That's 13.5 feet by 6 feet. That's the size of his iron bed. So, not a small guy. I'm just saying, I'm looking at it thinking, yeah, this is a big man. Again, we actually get dimensions here. So, because I know some people, some detractors and non-believers of the Bible or its facts, might go, oh, well, you have to understand, 6 feet would have been a giant. Well, 6 feet is kind of common today. So that's, no. We just got what size bed the man had to be in. So you're looking at somebody, if you think about where your feet are in your bed, where your head is, a little room here and there. So what? Guy's 12 feet? 11 feet? Either way, that's a giant. I don't care what you say. That guy's, he doesn't even need, they're going to have to redo the NBA. Because he's just going to walk up, drop, game's over. I mean, can you imagine posting up against him? Just look down at you, where are you going?
Do you remember how his relation is compared to Goliath?
I don't remember, no. I don't. But again, Goliath's another one of those huge tribes of enormous people. So, yeah. So at this point, and this is the odd thing, because if you go back to 11 there, for only Og, king of Bashan, was left of the remnant of the Rephaim. So in other words, there were still other giants out there. But of the Rephaim, the one they were actually calling giants at this point, that was it. So there had to be other giants in other land because they had something else to call them, which we've already seen in here they call them multiple things. But Point being, this is another race of giants they just wiped out completely. So when God's in charge and he's in control, it doesn't matter how big the opponent is. That's irrelevant. We worry about all these problems in our lives, and we've got some big ones, but nothing can't be handled with God on your side.
So he made him for a reason.
Yeah. If nothing else, he made him to make a point that size doesn't matter. It's not what it's about. Yeah. Who's in charge? Yahweh. That's it, man. He can do whatever he wants. Giants, yeah, whatever. Not a thing. Not an issue. Just follow me. I got you.
I think that's the key of lawless men. Because I think sometimes we get it intertwined with what I want out of the outcome, but say I'm following God.
Yeah. But that's where you...
I do something and then pray God
Yeah.
to bless it.
Yeah. Instead of asking first.
It's a little late.
Yeah. Sometimes we get the cart before the horse. I mean, I know I've been known to do it, and I'll probably still do it, unfortunately. But I do my best not to. But that's something we all have to work on, you know. Okay. So we took possession of this land at that time from Aror, which is by the valley of Arnon, and half the hill country of Gilead, and its cities I gave to the Reubenites and to the Gadites. The rest of Gilead and all Bashan, the kingdom of Og, I gave to the half tribe of Manasseh. All the region of Argob, concerning all Bashan, it is called the land of Rephaim. Jair, the son of Manasseh, took all the region of Argob as far as the border of the Gershurites and the Maccathites, and called it, that is, Bashan, after his own name. Havoth Jair, as it is to this day. To Mashir I give Gilead. To the Reubenites and to the Gadites I gave from Gilead, even as to the valley of Arnon. The middle of the valley is a border, and as far as the river Jabbok, the border of the sons of Ammon. The Arabah, also with the Jordan as a border, from Chinnereth, even as far as the sea of Arabah, the salt sea, at the foot of the slopes of Pisgah on the east. Then I commanded you at that time, saying, the Lord your God has given you this land to possess it. All you valiant men shall cross over armed before your brothers, the sons of Israel. But your wives and your little ones and your livestock, I know that you have much livestock, shall remain in your cities, which I have given you, until the Lord gives rest to your fellow countrymen as to you. And they also possess the land which the Lord your God will give them beyond the Jordan, that you may return every man to his possession which I have given you. Now, I find one thing in there interesting. Okay, so you think back to the first battle while they were still on the other side of the Jordan. When they came back, and the leaders of thousands, the leaders of hundreds, and leaders of tens came back and reported. What did they report? They lost 0 men. No one that was an Israelite died. Now, when you look over here at 20, then you may return every man to his possessions which I have given you, which I believe was what God meant. Everyone went back. Israel wasn't dying. They were killing all kinds of people, but they weren't dying. God was with them. God took care of it. It wasn't, well, you'll have minimal losses. No, he didn't have losses. God wasn't ready to lose anybody, and he didn't. I mean, put this in perspective. Think about World War I, World War II, Vietnam. We lost hundreds of thousands to millions of people, depending on which war you're talking about there. But war has loss. You don't go in and smite your enemy and have 0 casualties. I don't know if they had any casualties or not, but I know they didn't lose a man. That can't happen unless God is involved. It just doesn't happen. It's not an option. So I'm just trying to make it clear that this isn't possible without Yahweh. But when he's with, as they say, when God's on your side, who can be against you? Everybody can be against you, but that doesn't mean they're going to win. It just means they can be against you. There's a difference here, right? So just trying to put that in perspective, because it's a real big deal here. Okay. I commanded Joshua at that time, saying, your eyes have seen all that the Lord your God has done to these 2 kings. So the Lord shall do to all the kingdoms into which you are about to cross. Do not fear them, for the Lord your God is the one fighting for you. I also plead with the Lord at the time, saying, O Lord God, you have begun to show your servant your greatness and your strong hand. For what God is there in heaven or on earth who can do such works and as mighty as yours? Begun? You survived out in the wilderness, provided food and provided water. Man, I think he'd already shown he was God. But so be it. Let me, I pray, cross over and see the fair land that is beyond the Jordan, the good hill country in Lebanon. But the Lord was angry with me on your account, and would not listen to me. And the Lord said to me, enough! Speak to me no more of this matter. Go up on top of Pisgah, and lift up your eyes to the west, the north, and south, and east, and see it with your eyes. For you shall not cross over this Jordan. But charge Joshua, and encourage him, and strengthen him, for he shall go across at the head of this people, and he will give them an inheritance, the land which you see. So we remained in the valley opposite Beth Peor. The only thing I saw in there that was really interesting to me was Moses blamed it on the people. Blamed him not going in on the people. He didn't take responsibility for it. That kind of surprised me. As it says there in 26, but the Lord was angry with me on your account. He would not listen to me. And he was angry about Moses, who was supposed to stretch out his staff and get water. And what did he do? Instead, he beat the rock twice. And he said, so now you want me to do this for you? No, God was doing it, not Moses. He was trying to take the glory from God. That's what he was upset about. God doesn't like that. The things that God does for you, give him credit for. Is it really that difficult? I know I didn't accomplish and get to where I am today on my own. There's no way. I've got too much of a bad attitude some days, and I know it. I'll admit I've got my flaws, and that's one of them sometimes. That, and I tend to open my mouth when I ought to keep it shut. So the only way I've gotten to this place in life is because of Yahweh, because I know who I am.
We ask for it to be God's will, but we really want it to be our will.
We do, absolutely.
Like you say, we better.
Well, most of us only want 2 things. We want it all, and we want it now. Outside of that, we're good.
He give it, he can take it.
And he will.
We need to understand that.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. I'm thankful for what I've gotten. I know he gave it to me. It wasn't me. He might have given me the brain, but he also gave me the mouth that sometimes I forget to shut. So, it's reality. So I prefer to be honest about it. Got my issues. So we will pick up next week, chapter 4, verse 1. So let's go ahead and close in prayer here as soon as I stop this recording.